come with me, not into the screen of your phone or television, but using your imagination. Come with me to a very special day, St. Patrick's Day, and 52 other ordinary weekends. It's one of the most obvious days where we get a look under the hood into the psyche of the nation. We drink more tea than all the tea in China, except it's alcohol. It's a cycle that's been spinning on repeat for generations now. And I thought my washing machine was slow. But it's not St. Patrick's fault. It happens on most weekends. There's chaos in the cities and maybe even the towns. I wouldn't know about the towns though. I don't go there. And while many factors contribute to our social behaviour, alcohol is the leading suspect in our Streets of Rage saga. It's far from a cheap hobby, but it appears to be a key ingredient in our social lubricant. Without it, we'd be about as stiff as Roger Moore's acting muscles. I dream of an Ireland where people feel free to express themselves without alcohol, where ambition and creativity are not only welcomed, but celebrated. There's so many factors that shape a nation and its social behaviours, but the high hitters for us would be colonisation, poverty, famine, and perpetual emigration. It can seem rather abstract to link events of our past that we personally didn't live through to our behaviours today, but there's a physical mechanism within our bodies that carries the weight of these events through the generations. It's research that's underway in the form of epigenetics, understanding how the past has shaped us and how it lives on within us, in the very fabric of who we are and how we behave. The events of the past weren't just emotional, they were biological. The traumas we've endured over the centuries shape our behaviour today. Gene expression is passed from generation to generation, in addition to how children are raised under those circumstances. All of this is to say, whilst we have a problem expressing ourselves without alcohol, it's not the fault of any individual, but centuries of repression. But for now, let's start towards the end of the story with a solution as an alternative to alcohol. Though more obviously a plant than a solution, it's fast on its way to becoming a reality. In an Irish context anyway, so maybe not as fast as we'd like. The recent recommendations from the Oireachtas Committee on Drug Use, particularly the push for cannabis clubs and decriminalisation, provide a great whoosh of momentum towards reshaping Ireland. Their suggestion to introduce a not-for-profit cannabis club similar to those seen in Spain and Germany could be, well, game-changing, like an Xbox Game Pass but for weed. Cannabis's legal cousin CBD is available in most pharmacies and health food shops already, but it's very expensive and it's not quite the same. What legalization offers is a choice, and mostly choice is a good thing. Irish people can choose to drink alcohol or they can choose to consume cannabis. The concept is fabulous, and if done correctly, it will have huge social benefits, not least cleaning up the streets faster than TJ Hooker. There's only one legal high at the moment, and that's alcohol, and it doesn't suit everyone. It doesn't even suit me. But by giving people a choice, they may find a better alternative that offers them more than their relationship with alcohol ever could. Enlightenment is always experiential, baby. If you think legalization would make things worse, let's look to the Netherlands. Tulips, cheese, windmills, and cheese. Did I say cheese twice? Tulips, cheese, windmills, and weed. They're thriving. Are their social services in tatters? Is it unsafe on their buses and trams? Are their engineering projects uninspired? Their cities chaotic? Their people off kilter? Well, the Dutch are naturally always a little off kilter, but I don't think that's anything to do with the cannabis. It's a well-functioning, cohesive society full of artists and world-class engineers, all perfectly good, normal people. And there's more than just cannabis there. There's psychedelics, there's mushrooms, all of this legal, and their society is fine, it's thriving. When I visit other cities and I see how well run and how well kept they are and how safe they feel, it makes me slightly jealous. I'm not saying the Dutch wouldn't have had this without access to plants and mushrooms, but I think it makes a difference. Their more relaxed, progressive and creative society reflects their social lubricant of choice. It's a useful contrast. Not since the 1920s, when they thought that Guinness was good for pregnant women, have there been any real health benefits associated with alcohol. The same can't be said for cannabis, and that's why you'll find it's becoming more and more accessible. In fact, cannabis is already sort of legal if you're very sick, but well enough to jump through more hoops than total wipeout. You also have to have the patience of a saint with at least one miracle under their belt. That rules out St. Bernadette. Our medical cannabis access program exists, but you'd sooner find your way out of the Bermuda Triangle. It's wrapped in so much red tape, there's BDSM enthusiasts queuing up outside. As recently as the year 2000, cannabis has been medically available in 73 countries, decriminalized in 45, and legalized in 38, including several US states. Other countries are cracking on. Germany's gone full tilt. Luxembourg and Malta have hopped on the bandwagon, and Spain has got these swanky cannabis clubs. With all these countries legalizing cannabis in the last decade, it's only a matter of time before it will be legalized here too. So let's have the conversation and agree a path forward. There's a huge appetite for this. You could say we have the Munchies for legal cannabis. But just like that spoiled brat out of the movie Oliver Twist, I want more. Please, sir, can I have some more? A more structured and expansive legislation that would see us benefit economically while allowing the personal freedom for cultivation. There's a gardener inside all of us. Let's hope they don't use their secateurs to cut us open from the inside and escape. People who have the know-how and the desire should be allowed to grow a few plants at home. But the majority of people won't be that invested and will just want to purchase it like they do their shopping. They're not outgrowing their own fruit and veg either. We need to open dispensaries, an off-license for cannabis, if you will. It will be reasonably priced, but most importantly, Irish grown. What we want to create is a whole industry, a whole national industry, using the Irish climate to grow these plants. Think of it as a new crop. And the economy, darling. Oh, think of the jobs, the farms, the dispensaries, the entire supply chain. Cultivation, processing, distribution, and retail would create jobs, particularly in rural areas. The logistics are minimal. It's grown and cured on the farm, it's transported, and then it's packaged and sold at a dispensary. Right now, if you want cannabis, it's as easy as ordering Deliveroo. You text some shady guy named Declan who shows up in a car that smells like regret. He hands you a baggie and says, "Oh, this is the good stuff." Is it? Is it, Declan? Who knows? It could be oregano. You've no idea where it came from, what's in it, or if Declan's going to stick around for a chat you absolutely don't want to have. Is this the alternative we're clinging to? Please, why not walk into a nice shop with labels and choices? Would you like something for relaxation or creativity? Oh yes, I think I'm feeling like something quite creative today. You get it. Very civilized. You can buy it in a dispensary or you can grow it at home. And you walk into the shop and you get it. No problem. Even if you've never tried it and you wanted to, now you can. It's your choice. The prohibition of cannabis is being repealed worldwide. And it's only a matter of time before legalized cannabis is here too. How can we be progressive, helpful, and kind to ourselves? How can us islanders as a nation successfully orientate society on a better path? People who consume cannabis aren't out committing violent crimes. They're not out spray painting, screaming, or getting into fights. And if you thought that, now you know. Cannabis leads to chilled out people enjoying the music and staring at the stars and enjoying crisps. Boy, did they love crisps. The people you see creating havoc on the street have not been consuming cannabis. Maybe that's part of the problem. Studies in regions like Colorado and Washington State show no significant increase in violent crime or property crime following cannabis legalization. Legalization offers a safer alternative. Irish grown, yeah, quality controlled and free from criminal networks. Cannabis from the black market is expensive and it's often sold alongside more dangerous drugs like cocaine, ecstasy, or acid. The only gateway here is the one Declan is trying to upsell you on. Hugh Declan. Legalization takes people out of that ecosystem. And there's the old argument, but won't it lead to harder drugs? It won't. Studies have debunked this. People with data and pie charts, it's all there. Legalization reduces exposure to dodgy substances because you're not buying your cannabis from a lad with a sideline in cocaine. People turn to more dangerous substances not because of cannabis, but due to circumstances like lack of education or economic opportunity, like people from Turner's Cross. Legal cannabis offers a safe ecosystem for recreational users, offering a gateway to mindfulness, introspection, and a deeper connection with nature. Countries that have legalized cannabis haven't seen a rise in hard drug use, and revenue from cannabis can fund public education campaigns and drug harm reduction programs. The state would actually save money to squander elsewhere. Guards wouldn't be spending their time punishing people caught with cannabis, and suicide bombers would be too baked to go and blow up that plaza full of people. I made that last statistic up, but I think it has merit. I just don't have access to the data, much like Gary Glitter after he brought his laptop to PC World. There's a very visual problem with pubs closing around the country, and that's kind of at odds with where we started the piece. 2,000 pubs have closed in the past 20 years, and that's crazy. Think of all the associated jobs and communities that were lost along with them. Pubs are already evolving to meet modern tastes with themed nights and gastro menus. Rosie Madison's in Cork even has a sauna with plunge pools offering yoga with brunch. Pubs are already doing everything they can to stay relevant, and cannabis legalization could do even more for them. Why not imagine a world where a cannabis-infused tea could sit comfortably alongside a pint of stout or a cannabis mocktail? The more diverse our options, the richer our culture becomes. Pubs are the beating heart of Irish social life, places of connection, music, and laughter. Cannabis legalization will only enhance that. If it's well priced, accessible, of a high quality, and if people want it, well, then they should be able to get it. The benefits outweigh the personal risks. Ireland has this opportunity to lead, crafting a model that's not just functional but uniquely Irish. And the research so far has already been very clear. There's lots of benefits. And for a nation so out of touch with its emotions and looking for a form of escapism or social lubricant, cannabis provides a much needed choice in a country coerced by alcohol. It's not totally unheard of for people with cannabis to become addicted either. I just wanted to make sure that this whole piece was including both sides. But cannabis dependency rates are significantly lower than those of legal substances like alcohol, tobacco, and sweets. Studies from countries that have legalized cannabis haven't shown a spike in addiction rates post-legalization. People actually report switching to cannabis as a safer alternative. How nice. Nice for them. Why not us too? The mechanisms of cannabis are no longer a mystery to us. And although the research is still in its early days, we now know that there is a system in our body that regulates critical processes like immune response, inflammation, and brain protection. It's called the endocannabinoid system, and it produces endocannabinoids. These lipid-based molecules help regulate our sleep, our appetite, our sex, our learning, our memory, our sex drive, our growth, our learning, our appetite. You get it. Pretty much everything. They're involved in everything. They're the Dwayne Johnson of lipids, and they keep our bodies in balance. When the endocannabinoid system fails, however, problems arise. Conditions like chronic inflammation, autoimmune disease, or even cancer reflect a body at war with itself. And although the research is still in its infancy, scientists are exploring whether a misregulated endocannabinoid system might be a precursor to these diseases. Prolonged imbalance in this system could create the conditions for disease, which is why plant cannabinoids like THC and CBD seem to help so much. When we consume them, they regulate our endocannabinoid system. And for people with low cannabinoid levels, which is sometimes in the textbooks referred to as their cannabinoid tone, plant cannabinoids can have super benefits. Cannabis helps with chronic pain, anxiety, epilepsy. It's science, darling. Actual doctors in lab coats darting around corridors with flip charts. Yet in Ireland, we make it harder to access than a warm embrace from my stepmother. When I was in school, I thought we knew everything about the world, but I now appreciate we know very little, especially some people. We're constantly learning, and cannabis research is uncovering incredible insights into how we can tap into and even hack our body's natural systems. We can reduce inflammation, lower stress, and promote balance. It's like 3 weeks at a Buddhist retreat, but it fits in the palm of your hand. For some, cannabis is more than helpful. It's a necessity. I feel shame that Vera Toomey had to walk from Cork to Dublin in 2017. She was trying to gain access to medical marijuana for her daughter who was battling Dravet syndrome, and she raised great awareness, describing cannabis as one of the most humane forms of medication, saying it gave her daughter the quality of life that she deserved. That was nearly 8 years ago, and we've moved forward with all the gusto of a decrepit sloth. Why is the state so slow to reflect the desires of its people? It's as if it's a huge chore for them. They're too busy being unaccountable elsewhere. Ireland could be a contributor to the growing medical cannabis industry, a novel economic boost. It grows so well here. The more money the state can drum up from successful endeavours, the less tax we pay. In theory, anyway. We tried to sell our water and that didn't go so well, but I really think there's more of an opportunity for success here. With all the mind-numbing chaos in the world, now would be a great time for Ireland to take a bold step forward. Escapism is the order of the day. If the world were a person, it would be in ICU on morphine. Cannabis legalization is more than just policy. It's an opportunity for us to redefine our society in many ways. We've done it before. Ireland led the world with the smoking ban, setting a global example for public health. We can do it again. There'll be a better vibe on the streets of rage. There'll be an alternative to a substance that's ruled over us. I want to walk in the park with a cannabis-infused almond milk cinnamon latte. I just don't know how to make that myself. It's about creating new industries, revitalizing rural communities, and moving away from outdated stigmas. Ronald Reagan's dead, baby, dead and buried. Let his notions die with him. Let's craft sensible, progressive cannabis legislation that supports Irish farmers, strengthens our economy, and ensures safe access to the plant. Imagine an Ireland where the black market fades into irrelevance, replaced by high-quality, regulated products. An Ireland that is proud, not simply of following others, but of leading the charge. An Ireland where the policy reflects the needs and desires of its people. Legalization is inevitable. The question is, will we wait or will we lead? Will we choose to be bold, compassionate, and forward-thinking? Let's do this correctly. Light on bureaucracy, heavy on fairness, and with a bit of that Irish wit and charm. Legalization isn't about changing who we are. It's about giving people the freedom to choose. We've got the soil, the soul, and the sense. So Ireland, shall we roll up our sleeves and our joints and lead the way?